All right, here we go. Show's finna start. Yo, what's good, world? It's your boy Meemco Jackson. Thank you for tuning in. You are now listening to the Meemco Jackson Show. We are gonna get into some music real quick to start, like we always do, and then I'm gonna jump into the show, man. What fucking day is it? It's Tuesday, October 27th. Today is the first day of the NBA regular season, so I'm hyped. I'm in my Lakers gear. I'm watching the games on the Hulu, but the shit is barely working, and I'm getting kind of pissed off. Because I need to watch the damn games, man. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all joining me. So, shit, listen to this music, and then let's get into it. We got some Snoop Dogg playing right now. Then we got some Jeremiah, and then maybe some Lil White. I don't know if y'all know about that, but one of the hottest rappers to ever come out of Memphis, boy. He's hot. Anyway, let's jump into it, and I'll be right back with y'all. Yo, man, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this, you are on my YouTube channel. Try to record these shows, man. The last couple ones that I recorded didn't go that well. I've obviously upgraded from the promo and the first two that are up on the page. Them shits look terrible. They was filmed with my janky ass iPad. If anybody wants an iPad, I got one for sale. Fuck, man, I had to cut that nigga like it's preseason. Like, yo, you can't perform right, you're done. So, let me know what's up, man. Welcome, man. This is the Meemco Jackson Show. I'm your host, Meemco Jackson. We got some music playing right now, and then we're going to jump into the show. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to watch the games on Hulu because it's the first night of the NBA regular season. Go Lakers, baby. You know, I got the Kobe Bryant on. I'm not playing games in here. But I'm having a hard time watching this Toronto versus the New Orleans Pelicans game. I missed the whole damn third quarter because the Hulu app doesn't want to stay on. But hopefully we won't have those problems during the Laker game. I don't have time for that shit, man. I'm trying to watch these games. I'm going to be on my phone texting. Right now I'm texting. I call Boss Lady. Sherry runs the station, man, so I gotta get her to tune in to make sure that my shit is going right. We had some technical difficulties last week on Thursday, apparently. The show must not have been connected, so I literally recorded 2 hours just myself in here talking, and then the fucking iPad ran out of storage, so it only actually recorded the first hour. So I basically was just doing a rehearsal for tonight. When you guys watch this video, you won't get to hear the music on the video because this is all low budget. I don't want y'all to think that I reached out to all these artists and was like, hey, nigga, can I play your songs on my show? We did not do that. I'm not trying to get sued for copyright infringement or no bullshit like that. So I'm not going to play the music. I don't mind sitting here talking to y'all. I hope y'all stay tuned in. It might get a little bit boring. There might be times where you're just looking at this, or I might try to just turn the volume up on the music. That if it's like 30 seconds or something like that, I think you can get away with like 30 seconds without somebody trying to come back and like sue your ass. I need to actually look into that, so I'll probably only play about 15 seconds of the shit. And even that's kind of a risk, but for the most part, this is what it is, man. This is how our first two were, and this is how it's probably gonna go. I don't know, man. I have fun doing this shit. It's every week. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The YouTube channel is under my name, so you just type in Meemco Jackson, and then it'll pop up. We got a whole channel. There ain't much on it now, but hopefully in the future that thing will be packed with videos and content and things like that you guys can enjoy. You know, I got social media pages all under the same name. So, yo, look me up, man. Follow it. If you want to see some funny ass memes, you're having a bad day and you just need something to kind of pick you up, go to my Instagram. That thing has 22,000 memes on it. Yeah, you heard that number right. 22,000. So check that shit out, man. It's hella funny. I think people think I don't have anything to do during the day, but I do have a job. I do go to work every day, and I try to be a I try to be somewhat of a contributing member to society. And the way that I definitely contribute is that I make niggas laugh. And so I have one of the best meme pages on the internet that's kind of undiscovered. I don't have a ton of followers, which I'm kind of surprised, because if you really like memes, you should check my page. But I'm also very terrible at social media, so I don't tag people. I don't really put good hashtags on shit. Like, I'm just laughing at the shit, and I post it and I move on. I just like to laugh. I don't try to really focus on a lot of that extra shit. So if anybody's looking to help manage a meme page, because I want somebody to maybe eventually take this shit over, reach out to your boy. All right, man. They got this song finishing up, so I'm probably about to start turning this down so we can jump into the show. I'm gonna talk some shit about this NBA shit. I think it's only right, man. It's NBA season, and what better way to get the night started off by talking a little shit? Cause there's some niggas that's playing for the Pelicans that's fucking bums. So, sorry if you end up seeing this. But no, you know what? I'm not sorry. Y'all should be better. You're in the NBA, bro. Yo. Your boy is back. All right, man. We had this classic record playing, Wanna Get Up by Jeremiah. That was the cut back in the day. Maybe not back in the day. I still be listening to this. I don't know if anyone's actually ever listened to that song with any type of frequency. It's a hot song though. I always have it on some of my playlists, and it was just playing in your ear. So anyway, we are in night 1 of the NBA season. This shit is crazy. My man Fred VanVleet, man, he's a good player, plays for the Toronto Raptors. I think Buddy's not going to come back into the game because he rolled his ankle stepping on one of the cameramen. I know that the NBA wants to make sure they get every angle of this game, and they want to have this shit plastered on every TV in America because that's how niggas make money. But fam, you got the camera people sitting 3 feet off the fucking baseline. That's not enough space for a nigga to finish a layup and then land properly and not risk getting hurt. They got to get these people to scoot back or something. I don't really understand, because we've seen so many people get hurt doing that, and yet they still have these people just sitting there. And it's crazy when you're watching the game, because as a basketball player, I know that they do not have enough space to land when they're running full speed and doing all these things. Like, this shit looks dangerous, bro. So shout out to Fred VanVleet. He's a good player. Hope that his injury isn't too severe. It looked all right. I mean, he walked off the court and shit, but I mean, you know how it is, man. Professional sports, people stay getting injured. Speaking of injuries, the New Orleans Pelicans #1 pick, Zion Williamson, already injured, out 6 to 8 weeks. Yo, I gotta tell y'all something. As a basketball player, I'm not a nigga that gets impressed by people who can dunk. Every highlight of him is him dunking. I'm not saying he's a bad player or doesn't have the potential to be a good player, but I'm not impressed with his preseason performances and his numbers, because all he does is dunk. This big young fella weighs 285 pounds, and he's a freak of nature, an absolute monster. I get that. But bro, if you're thinking that this knee injury has nothing to do with the fact that he's too fucking big to play the way he plays, you are insane. He cannot play basketball in the NBA for 82 games weighing 285 pounds. Because if his knees keep getting hurt, or if he hurts his ankles or some of these other things that happen to players, what is his backup plan? Because fam, he can't shoot the basketball. That's why when you're like, oh shit, he's 12 for 13. Yeah, all in the paint. Only thing he can do is dunk and get layups. I want to see him work the jumper, because when these injuries start piling up, fam, you're going to be done. You're not going to be able to dunk on everybody that you play against. Now, can he dunk on everybody that he plays against? Yeah, sure. But it's not going to happen long term. He's going to end up continuing to get hurt if he maintains his current body weight And if he plays the way he continues to play without improving his skills, he's going to end up being a bust. And people have been trying to argue that with me. You have people on ESPN this morning talking about, oh, well, look what happened to Jordan when he got hurt when he was young. And people literally comparing him to Jordan, bro. Come on. This guy is not Jordan. The Pelicans are not going to the playoffs. There's no reason to rush him back. He need to just let his knee heal. He need to shed about 35 pounds, maybe 40 if you can do it. And he needs to work on his jump shot. Because all these dunks and stuff like that, bro, we saw how good Blake Griffin was. That nigga can dunk on everybody. We seen that. What does Blake do? He puts up solid numbers, but like, does he have rings? Is he one of the best players in the NBA? The answer is no. This guy is literally like Blake Griffin. So I hope Zion develops a jump shot, because until that happens, he's going to be an average player. And I say average because he's one-dimensional. All he can do is dunk. Do not be fooled by the fact that he has significant bounce. It's not going to be helpful when this team has nobody who can get a bucket with the game on the line in the fourth quarter. Lonzo still looks rough. I mean, Lonzo has great passing ability. Don't get me wrong. But he's not going to be the guy who's getting it done in the fourth quarter. Brandon Ingram, this whole entire game, I'm wondering why he's in the NBA. Somebody reach out to me and tell me why Brandon Ingram is in the NBA. And why their actual best player, Josh Hart, doesn't even start for the team. I mean, not like they really needed him. New Orleans isn't playing that bad. They're putting up a good fight against the Raptors, but, I mean, let's be for real. The Raptors are kind of bummy, too, now that they don't have Kawhi. They hit the ultimate jackpot last year by leasing a player, basically borrowing him for the season. That man comes in, helps them do the unthinkable, because I assure you that nowhere in the NBA's plans in the history of their league were they ever wanting Toronto to win the championship. That was not supposed to happen. Kawhi did that on his own. Because for the most part, if the NBA wants you to win the ring, they'll help you set it up to where you can win the ring. Toronto winning it was an accident, because you see all these people get hurt, and then they ended up being able to breeze through. And then because Giannis can't shoot, they kind of had an easy road to get to the finals. But now they have no Kawhi. Their three best players are Siakam, Kyle Lowry, and I guess Van Vliet, if we're being for real. I mean, they still have Marc Gasol, but he's okay. Who else is on the team? Serge Ibaka's on the team, but he's okay. Like, you just have a bunch of guys who are okay. And they play in the Eastern Conference. So, like, they have a chance. But if we're being for real about it, their team is not very good. So the Pelicans look okay against a team that we know is not going to be any good. Zion's probably not going to be back until they're saying about a week before Christmas. I hope by then he has a jump shot. Hopefully by then New Orleans hasn't already tanked the season, because most of the same people that they have playing for this team are all the same players that LeBron had last year. And you remember before LeBron got hurt, they were fourth in the Western Conference. By the time he came back after 17 missed games, they basically were out of the playoffs. So I think most people are under the assumption that without Zion for the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, that basically they're already just playing for next year. And I'm here to tell you that even with Zion, they were still playing for next year. They were not playing to do anything this year. So if you are a New Orleans Pelicans fan, I'm sorry to disappoint, but y'all are not that good. You probably won't be that good. And if your best player can only dunk, I assure you, you're never, ever going to go any deeper than the first round of the playoffs, because you play in the Western Conference, where other stars kind of like Russ, James, Steph, Donovan, AD, KD. No, KD's in the East now. But AD, Kawhi, PG, all these damn people, they can all do multiple things on the court, and your man can only dunk. So best of luck to you this season. Y'all are some bums. But that happens. I mean, it's New Orleans. New Orleans is not going to be good in basketball. But the good thing for the city of New Orleans is this year, you guys are probably going to go to the Super Bowl. So you should be proud about that. Teddy Bridgewater hasn't completely tanked your team. Drew Brees is probably going to come back to practice in the next few days, and then maybe he's going to be back to starting. And then you guys might, you're already going kind of on a run. Maybe you might run all the way to the damn Super Bowl. Good luck with that. And you're also, I'm going to throw a little bit of shade. Shout out to all the Dallas Cowboy fans. I think after last night, you have to feel some type of way knowing that you lost to the guy who openly admitted that he basically was scared of the New England Patriots defense. He said that he was out there seeing ghosts. You got beat by Sam Darnold and the Jets, who are a bunch of bums. You guys are 4-3. I'm bringing this up not necessarily to really hate on the Cowboys, but more so on some of the fans. If you are an actual friend of mine, this is not directed at you. It's more so of people that are like on Twitter, on IG. If you go look at some of these things where they talk about the Dallas Cowboys, you have people who, for some reason, they seem to forget that y'all did just lose 3 straight. One of those losses is to the Jets, who are a team that literally got skunked on Monday Night Football. It was bad. They looked bad. And that's the same team that beat y'all. So you guys are now 4-3, and you have a lot of fans who are acting like you're guaranteed going to the Super Bowl. Some of you think Dak Prescott is worth $40 million. I feel like he's proved that he's not worth that. I see Dak as being a $25 to $27 million a year type of quarterback. I feel like any more than that, Jerry would be very generous if he was to give him more than that. I'm not sure why Dak thinks that he's worth 40. I also think that if we allow Dak to set the market to where he puts it at 40, then you're going to have to start paying some of these guys crazy amounts of money. And the market's going to get reset next year anyway with Mahomes, because Mahomes is probably the only player in the league who's worth $40 million at the quarterback position. And that's mainly because he's not losing to niggas like the New York Jets. So, all you Cowboys fans, please settle down. You're 4-3, fam. You guys do this all the damn time. You did it like 10 times with Tony Romo. Whoever else you've had at quarterback, you've done it with them too. Like, you guys are an okay team. You have a pretty solid defense. You have some good players, but other than that, you're not very good. I don't know, man. I like my Bills. Bills are, we 5-1? 5-1. I don't want to get too hyped up because I'm a realist, and I understand that the Buffalo Bills will probably lose the next 3 to 4 games, or 3 out of the next 4 games. We will not go to the Super Bowl. I think the only way we go to the Super Bowl is if, and I don't want this to happen, I'm telling you the only way that the Bills can go to the Super Bowl is if Mahomes stays hurt and Lamar Jackson gets hurt, and then Brady just decides that he wants to do some like cheating type of stuff, and then he gets suspended by the league. I don't imagine that Brady would get hurt because the protection in New England is crazy. Their offensive line is one of the best in the league, and he's not a mobile guy. He gets the ball out in like 2 seconds. So Brady just kind of sits back there and just throws easy fucking passes. We need all these other guys. We don't need them to get hurt. I'm saying in a dream scenario, the only way we go is if KC and Baltimore and New England somehow tank it, because the AFC is the worst it's probably been in like a decade. There's not a lot of good teams. In fact, they have 2 teams over there that are probably going to go defeated for the season, which is insane to think about. There's a chance that San Francisco and New England could go undefeated, and both Miami and Cincinnati could go defeated. I hope that happens. Shout out to all my friends who are Bengals fans. Fuck, man. It's got to be tough for y'all. And I actually only know one person in America who's a Dolphins fan. Shout out to one of my homies from back in Florida, Mr. James Cassiano. I think he's a doctor now. Lil J might be a doctor. So if Lil J is listening or someone's listening that can, let him know I said this, Dr. Cassiano, I feel bad for you. I know you are a lifelong Dolphins fan. My heart goes out to you, fam. it's got to be hard where you're at because your team is basically barely better than a 5A high school football team. And that's embarrassing. So, for all you football fans, if you were a Bengals fan or a Dolphins fan, you're playing for next year. It's pretty obvious. Both of those teams have two of the worst quarterbacks of all time in Andy Dalton and Josh Rosen. But Miami does have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sorry, on the video, I'm like messing with my shoulders like a fucking weirdo. But they at least do have Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not the worst thing in the world, but he's also not a start. He should not be starting football games for any team. So you guys are ass out. It's going to be a tough year for y'all. Man, good luck. I think it's clear that the Patriots will probably just win the Super Bowl. I'm excited to already see what the NFL is going to be like next year. Hopefully we don't have teams like San Fran and New England going undefeated. That's some weird ass shit. I was not expecting San Francisco to be good at all, but shout out to the guys out there in the Bay Area. They're doing work. Shout out to my homie Richard Sherman, man. It's a good dude that I know personally, man. I know he's been working his ass off, and I know especially for that defense, he's got to be one of those leaders in the locker room, and you know he comes prepared to play every week. So shout out to Big Sherman, man. We out here rooting for you. We still love you in the Seattle area, but I don't know, man. I don't have any hate for the 49ers, so it's kind of cool to see that they're undefeated and that the Seahawks are not. So, Seattle, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Getting blown out at home by Baltimore? Come on, fam. That got to be better than that because y'all swear that Russ is the MVP of the league, and I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. You can't get it done by not completing almost 20 passes. Come on, Russ. You got to be better than that. And the defense, your defense looked terrible. Gave up 30. You let niggas go for it on a 4th and 2 in the red zone, and they scored on you. Come on, man. Seattle's supposed to have one of the better defenses in the league, according to all the fans. So good luck to y'all for the rest of the season. Now that I'm done bashing all your little sports teams, and I mainly did that kind of just as a slight to some of my friends who were listening. I told them I was going to give them a hard time. So what better way to do that than to talk shit about their sports teams, because I know they love them. So you know who you is, cuz. Anyway, man, let's get into it. Yo, first thing I want to say, I saw some little article. I don't know how true this is, but it says that Apple is working on a pregnancy test that also can identify your baby daddy based on the little database that they use, like when they do our face scans or whatever. So, if that's real, I think that will be stupid funny in the long run, because a lot of you niggas try to duck that responsibility when a girl, texts you and says, "Hey baby, we need to talk." And then you go over there, you're all scared or whatever, and then she tells you that she's pregnant. And some of you try to duck that. Or some of you assholes, you know that you're doing wrong, and you try to leave her all by herself to deal with that. I think, well, if I just move to another state, she can't find me. Get a new phone number, block her on social media. But fam, if you got an iPhone and you had your face scan on there, if she get the right pregnancy test, she gonna have your ass on them court documents, and you're not gonna be able to do a damn thing about it. So, my niggas, if you're listening, you better start wrapping up, because once this pregnancy test drops, it's probably over for some of y'all. And hopefully by then, I will have taken over for the Maury Show. I decided this morning that that's what I want to turn this into. I want Maury to hire me as his replacement, just so I can look niggas in their face and be like, you know what, Twan? You are the father. And just see how depressed they get. And you know how they run to the back and then the camera crew will run after them? I want to be there for all of that. I want to be the nigga that breaks the news to them, to their face, that they can't duck these responsibilities and they got to raise these damn kids. Also, I know if I become the host of Maury, I can control the narrative when I end up on that motherfucker. So, it's all about the long game, baby. So y'all rock with me. I'm about to start a petition. I'll probably send it out via email this week. I'll let y'all know. Sign the petition to help me become the next host of the Maury Show. We don't have a name for it yet. I probably would still call it the Maury Show because that's how people recognize it. You know, people are getting caught up with DNA tests when the thing says Maury on the bottom of the screen. So that's what I'm trying to do. Please sign the petition, check your email and all your spam folders. I want to get to something kind of serious real quick because I saw this article the other day. I thought it was crazy. And I posted it. And I know a lot of people commented because we all think kind of the same thing. We think the mom did it. And if you, some of you might already know what I'm talking about, but I read this article where it said that there was a boy who was found hanging with his sister. Apparently his sister had been bullied at school. And so the thing that the article says, it says that the mom had told the police that she had a feeling that this was going to happen and that she knew that the daughter didn't want to go alone and somehow had convinced her younger brother, who apparently was like 4 or 5 years old, had convinced him to also hang himself. When I first read the article, maybe I was just kind of being a dick, but after just reading the first couple of sentences, I immediately said the mom did it because the shit just seemed weird. How do you know that your very young daughter was planning to harm herself because she was bullied, and that since she didn't want to go alone, you acted like you weren't surprised that she recruited her brother to join her on her new journey as she transcends to the next life? It's very unfortunate. You hate to see a child that young want to do that to herself, especially because, you know, she's just dealing with assholes at school. Sorry if anyone's listening that goes to the school where that young girl went. Yeah, I called your kids assholes. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Kids can be assholes. I feel like that's fair for me to say. Anyone who gets offended by that, like, come on, fam. You're not being for real about life. Like, adults are assholes. That has to start somewhere. So sometimes kids can be assholes too. I'm an asshole. I was an asshole kid. So I'm qualified to look at a kid and be like, this kid's an asshole. Anyway, so the mom clearly did something, knows something, was a part of this in some way. It's very awkward. And like I said, I think when I was reviewing the article, there were just so many things that made it obvious that she was a part of this somehow and that this was not an accident. Also, think about how hard it is to convince a 5-year-old to do something. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're brother and sister, maybe they're close. It probably is easy in that moment, but it seems weird to me that he was just like, yeah, of course, I'll do this with you. What are we doing? We're just gonna hang here for a little bit. And obviously the young lady, she knew enough about hanging to understand that the way that she could relieve herself from her pain would be to hang herself. So she kind of has an idea of what the outcome will be. It's extremely shocking to me that she would allow her little brother to do this. It's just super fucking weird and very sad. But anyway, the mom did it. And usually I try to be, very sympathetic. It's a mother. She's lost both of her children. But also, she didn't seem real broken up about it, which was very weird. Because I feel like if I would have just lost my kids, excuse me. For those of you who actually know me, I think you know how I would be acting. Very irrational. I probably would be on the hunt for, school officials and people like that, because I would want to know, why was my kid being bullied at school? Why did we not put measures in place to make sure that this did not happen? And then obviously you're not going to spaz out on some kids, but I want to know why my child is doing this. This has to stem from something. So the whole situation seemed weird, but either way, I'm pretty sure mom's a murderer. Hopefully they pick her up and take her to jail, put her under the jail maybe, because you probably could have prevented this and actually given your children, you could have given your children the life that they actually deserve. These two young kids did not need to go through this, and it's very sad that the young lady felt like she just couldn't do it anymore. I think she was only 8 or 9 years old, which is crazy that we have kids that are getting to like 8 or 9 years old and they're like, fuck it, I can't do it anymore. And it's like, yo, fam, you're bugging. All you gotta do is go to school and drink juice boxes and eat apple slices and shit like that. Like, it's easy work. Like, I assure you, you can make it through this and power through. This is the easy portion of this shit. It actually gets harder when you get older, because then you just have to become more responsible for shit, which is crazy. I'm off that. But anyway, shout out to these two young kids. My heart goes out to them. I hope they're resting easy in paradise, and I hope mom falls off something and maybe cracks her head open. Nothing too crazy, just enough to make her remember that she should have been a mother first and maybe checked in on her kids and, you know, put some other measures in place and maybe not have murdered them. Because I'm pretty sure, based on all the evidence and stuff that I read, I'm pretty sure she did it. If I'm jumping out the window on that and come to find out she didn't do it, Ma, I'm sorry, you look like a suspect. So it is what it is. I already said it. It's on the radio and I recorded it. So too bad for you. Next crazy ass story. Yo, imagine having a dad who was in charge of a cartel. Your dad is so savvy, and people are probably gonna hate me for using the word savvy, but he's finds ways to escape from prison. He's so well connected that when people try to take him to jail, multiple people die, which is fucking insane. But imagine you're El Chapo's kid. You can do anything at that point. My man gets arrested, and then he has to be released because the cartel shows up and they decide, nah, fam, you're not gonna arrest our boy like that. And they start basically tearing the place to shreds. And when I say the place, I mean all of Mexico. So literally they went into a city and started killing cops, destroying buildings and doing whatever just to get young fella out of jail. Scared the shit out of government officials in the city so much that it seems like they've decided to like drop the charges because the body count has started to really increase. But that's crazy, because that's not his dad having those connections. He's not the type of father you can bring to career day. And I feel like if you were to bring him, like what does he talk to the kids about? Like how he rose to power, and how, like, if anyone ever harms his son, including all the people in this room, your families will be beheaded. Shit is just crazy. So if you're El Chapo's kid, you get to literally do whatever the fuck you want. I think it's got to be the highest level of privilege to know openly people will come to get you out of jail, and the way they do it is by putting people on the news and murdering them. Like some of the videos that I saw of this, bro, it's the craziest shit I've ever seen. So I will never ever go to Mexico on a vacation, because I would just be afraid that I breathe wrong on a nigga and he might be in the cartel, and then you may only come home with like a stump of an arm. I don't want to take that risk. So if any of you are planning a vacation in Mexico, do it at your own risk. If you go to a nightclub and you see El Chapo's kid, you better go the other way, because the night may not end well for you. Man, we're in the first 30 minutes. That's a pretty easy half hour. So we're going to jump back into this music. What do we got planned? I got all kinds of stuff. We're about to get this Lil White cracking. It's called Crash the Club. We might have some Slim Thug playing. Some Avant might come on later. Man, we got all kinds of shit. So I appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned in. Reach out to your boy. Provide some feedback. Tell me some funny stories that you wouldn't mind having shared on the air. Something weird, something nasty, something funny. Don't send me no shit about what you did today or what you ate for breakfast, because niggas that's watching this shit don't care about that. Unless it was something crazy, like if you had a can of raviolis or something like that for breakfast, like tell me that. That way I can riff on that and make jokes about your struggle. But I can make them because I also did that last week. Definitely had raviolis for breakfast. That shit was fire because it's from Costco. Shout out to Costco for hooking it up. That shit was good. I might have to pull up to the Costco tomorrow and get some more raviolis. But anyway, we're about to jump into this music, man. Keep listening. We're here until 9, so we got another hour and a half. I think that's how you add up that time. And then we're going to keep getting it cracking. The party don't stop because we'll be back on Thursday night at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Track Talk Radio. Be sure to go to the channel. To the YouTube channel is one. If you missed this, you can catch the video and the recorded version. It should be up tomorrow morning. But also be sure to, check out just the station that is Track Talk Radio. We got some good music, good local artists. There's all kinds of events coming up. And if you check the website, you can get information on all that stuff. You can find ways to connect with all the great people that are on here. So make sure that you go to the link, press play, listen in, add all the social media pages, and just, like and subscribe and share. Do all the things that we expect listeners and consumers to do. Promote the stuff that you love. And we're all local, and so we would all appreciate the love. We're all just people who are trying to do our thing and make it in life and just kill it like all the rest of you. So help us out. Anyway, here's this music, and then we're going to jump right back into it, y'all. Appreciate you. And scene. No, not and scene. Anyway, man, let's get to this. I can't seem to get the Hulu to stay on. The damn game is less than a minute. New Orleans is up by 2, or at least that's what it says on my screen. Who knows? I know there's a little bit of a delay, and with the amount of times that this shit is cut off, who knows how far behind I am. Somebody could have already won this game, and I would have no damn idea. But we are lit. It's Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019. I'm on the air. We're recording here, and then we're doing a live show into this thing, which is the microphone, and I'm working off the computer, and then I'm on this, and then I'm watching TV like an asshole. So there's nobody in here tonight. It's just me, and I'm still lit. But yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in. The like and subscribe button is somewhere down at the bottom. Send this shit to all your friends. Send it to your grandmother, to your pastor, to your therapist. Send it to whoever's willing to listen. I don't know. Play it for your dog while you go to work and leave your poor dog at home to just sit there and be bored in your apartment or your dojo or wherever you fucking stay at. It'll be lit. Your dog might like it. Who knows? Yo, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. It's not working. Now it's gone. Oh shit, here we go. Anyway. Right now they're listening to some Lil White, Crash the Club. That's a classic record. After that, we got some JMSN. I think that's how you say his name. My Way, that's a classic record. Then maybe some Slim Thug, but I might cut it off by then. I gotta get back on the microphone, man. That way y'all getting your money's worth. Your time is being well spent. You can't just sit here listening to me rambling and shit like that. That shit gets old real quick. Yeah. Oh yeah. Man, oh man, here we go. Can y'all believe it's already October? And this is the craziest month of the year. You got basketball, there's football, there's MLB postseason. If you're a hockey fan, hockey has started up. I mean, we got everything going right now in regards to sports. We literally just finished the WNBA postseason like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. College football is going. College basketball is about to start, I think, next week or so. You'll start seeing all those little Maui invitationals and tournaments like that will start popping up. It's just a crazy time for sports. So tonight's episode is kind of sports heavy. There'll be some other stuff, but yeah, we are sports heavy tonight. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm glad that you were here with me. Hope you're enjoying the show. I definitely am. You know, I got my Lakers jersey on tonight. We are repping first night of the NBA season. We got LeBron and AD versus Kawhi, and I think that's pretty much it. And Pat Bev, PG is out. He's still recovering from shoulder surgery, so he's probably slated to miss the first 10 games of the season. After that, he should be back. And we'll see how they perform, man. I think a lot of people have them picked to win the championship. I can't say that I blame them based on the way that Kawhi had been playing, but it's hard for me to see them winning the championship because on paper their roster looks good, but you got a lot of guys who have not won any meaningful games besides Kawhi. I know PG is hailed as one of the top, 15 stars in our league and probably the top, 5 perimeter defender and offensive player. But I don't think he is a postseason finisher. I think the best that he can do is get them a handful of wins in the regular season, and then he'll probably do what he always does, which is maybe tank it. I don't want to say that he tanks, but I don't think he plays as well in the playoffs as everybody thinks. I think OKC could have been a lot better than what they were, and I think he walked away from that prematurely because they probably could have been pretty good. But what do I know? I'm just a guy who's sitting in a living room watching TV. I'm nobody. Oh shit! 5 seconds left. Game's tied. Oh, Norm pulling up. He missed it. So I guess this game's going to overtime. My nigga Norm Powell, he was about to hit the game winner on them boys. Shout out to Norm. That's been my guy. I don't know why. I fuck with Norm. So anybody who knows me knows I'm a big Norman Powell fan. He's rocking the number 24. He's probably the best player playing for the Raptors, honestly. Him and Van Vliet. But they're in OT, so here we go. Hey, yo! I just cut that shit off because I need to say something real quick. This damn game just done went into overtime, man. I can't even believe it. This shit is crazy. But before we went to break, well, actually, after we went to the break, I'm talking to the people on the video recording and letting them know my thoughts on the Clippers. I want to tell y'all this. I know a lot of people think that the Clippers are going to win the championship. Fam, y'all got to chill. 1, you're the Clippers. 2, outside of Kawhi Leonard, no one on your team has played in any meaningful basketball games, nor have they proven that they can handle the big moments. I think Patrick Beverley will be okay because he's just a dog. So he's going to get out there. He's going to lock up on defense. He's going to do his job. He'll be all right. But I think if people are thinking that, the combination of Kawhi and PG, I think if people are thinking that that is what is going to propel them to an NBA championship, I think they are sadly mistaken. They don't have enough, man. PG is a regular season player. He puts up big numbers. He can score. He plays tough defense. He's one of the best in the league on both sides of the ball. But when you see him in the playoffs, he doesn't do a whole lot, at least not in the games that matter, and not in the way in which we expect a superstar to perform. You can debate that with me all you want, but I feel like that's been made clear because everywhere he's ever played, the teams that he has been on, they have never done anything. He had some good games when he played with Indiana against LeBron, but even in some of those series, like sometimes he would go off for 40 and then the next night he would have 7 points and 2 rebounds. Like, it's hard for me to say that the thing that puts the Clippers over the top is adding Kawhi and PG. I think Kawhi gives them some juice, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that their lineup is better than what the Lakers have. They're not better than the team that they share residency with. It's just not happening. So it's kind of my thoughts on the Clippers because they're about to play next. That game's probably going to start soon, but we are now in OT with New Orleans versus Toronto. This game is very underwhelming. No one's really standing out, but shout out to the Pelicans, man. I think a lot of people thought they were going to come out here tonight and get blown out because they didn't have Zion. And this has turned into a pretty decent game for two teams who probably won't be much of anything when the season comes to a close. So, shout out to those bums. Oh, the website is tracktalkradio.com. So go there. Sign up for updates, alerts. I'm sure, like any website, you can do all those fun things. You'll find out when there are events, and you'll find out when my show is coming up, which I probably have said 10,000 times, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's Tuesday and Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Definitely tune in, man. If you don't have nothing to do, this shit is just fun. So, anyway, yeah, we are sports heavy tonight, mainly because I'm in NBA mode. We also have the World Series going on tonight. It's game 1, Washington Nationals versus Houston Astros. Yo, being from Texas, I was always an Astros fan because one of my favorite players growing up was Jeff Bagwell, and I was a baseball player growing up. So for those of you who think that I'm just foo-fooing and, I'm just bullshitting whatever, nah, fam. I was a baseball star as a kid. I was actually better at that and soccer and football than I ever was at basketball. And then I turned into a rec center legend on the basketball court. And now I'm one of the best players in the greater Seattle area. If you want to argue that with me, pull up to the court, baby boy. But anyway, I really like Houston, but I've also always been a Yankees fan, so it was kind of cool for me because either way, one of my teams was going to the World Series. This is the only time I really watch baseball because that shit gets so boring. But yo, shout out to little midget Jose Altuve hitting that big ass home run at the end to close out the Yankees. That was crazy. So hopefully Houston still has some of that magic left in them, but I would not be surprised if the Nationals beat them because they've put together a really spectacular season, especially considering that they lost Bryce Harper, and people were expecting that losing that caliber of a player would probably put your franchise in the gutter, and it did not. They basically took his contract and they split that up between like 7 or 8 new players, which ends up working out because, why pay one guy $250 million when you can take that $250 million and pay like 7 guys? And then look what the end result is. You barely ever got out of the playoffs with Bryce, and now you have a chance to win the World Series without him. So shout out to Washington. It's the only victory that you guys will have this year. It remains to be seen what the Capitals will look like, which is their hockey team, but the Redskins are already playing for next year. I mean, you got niggas that don't even want to report to the team because they hate the franchise. Shout out to Trent Williams, that's my guy. I think it's so funny that he's holding out because he just doesn't want to be there. And it's a whole thing with the medical staff, obviously. But you also have John Wall's probably out for the season. I mean, yeah, you re-signed Bradley Beal to an extension, but the Wizards will be absolute dumpster freaking garbage. And I'm talking about the type of garbage that's out behind a Chinese buffet at closing time. It'll be that bad for them. They will be that disgustingly bad. It's going to smell. It's going to be ugly. You are not going to want to watch Wizards games. They literally have no players over there except Bradley Beal. So if you're a Wizards fan, I'm not disrespecting you because you're just a fan. You can't help it, but y'all's team is fucking boo-boo. So, Washington, it's going to be a long year for you. Damn, this game is crazy close, man. I'm surprised that it's hard to tell. Is New Orleans better or is Toronto worse without Kawhi? It's definitely hard to tell. But we'll jump back into that. I'll update you as this game comes to a close, and then it looks like the Laker game has already started. As I'm seeing it scroll on the bottom line, it says that the Lakers are up 10-2. So that game's over. We're about to blow them out. Yeah, I'm saying it's over in the first quarter because I'm wild like that. But until we're able to get to that game, let's jump into some more of these topics. I thought this one was pretty funny. I saw that a woman in San Antonio had successfully sued the city because during a traffic stop, and I think it ended up, they said it was like a drug thing. I guess they're checking her for drugs. The cop pulled out this lady's tampon. Yeah, you heard me say that right. A male police officer pulled out this lady's tampon while he was searching her for drugs. And she successfully sued the city and won about $205,000. So whatever her name is, shout out to her, man. Getting that money all because a cop wanted to violate you. She probably deserved more. He deserved to lose his job. He might have just been following procedure, but fam, I feel like when you were as a male, you probably shouldn't be searching a woman unless there's absolutely no female officers available. And even in that moment, if she tells you that it's her time of the month, my nigga, take her word for it. Don't reach inside of her and pull something out because you want to assume that it's drugs or something. My nigga, if she mentioned to you that it was her time of the month, that thing that's probably up there is most likely a tampon. And you're being fucking gross. And now, speaking of tampons, for all you Always fans, apparently, and I want to make sure I state this correctly, it sounds like the transgender community, and I hope I'm saying this right, it's males who are transitioning to become women. They complained about the Always whatever company uses that word or slogan to promote their tampons. Apparently these men who are transitioning to women, sorry if I'm not saying that right, I'm not technically sound on all the names and how you use them properly, but look, man, if y'all are offended, I don't give a shit, man. I just don't fucking know. Educate me. Don't get mad, fucking educate me. But apparently these niggas got mad because they felt like the Always brand was making it to where it's not inclusive for them. You niggas don't have periods. What the fuck does it matter what's on the packaging for tampons, playa? You arrived with a penis. The hole on your penis is not big enough for your tampon. I would assume. I don't know, because I've never tried to stick a tampon in the tip of my dick. I'm not going to do no crazy shit like that. But apparently these guys or these ladies, these newly transitioned ladies, is that right? Did I say that right? Maybe I said it wrong. I don't know. They have taken issue with the way the label reads on the tampon. So naturally, as the internet, we've all banded together to obviously make them kind of feel like jackasses because it's kind of ridiculous. Like, look, guys, you've already taken so much from women. Why is this something that you have to have? You don't have to have this. You don't get a period. You don't need to be well represented on the package of tampons, bro. If you're making this transition, that's totally fine. We respect that. We want you to be you and live your life in all its glory. But this is one of those things that y'all should have just let this shit go. You're literally out here, you're making it to where some of these people may not want to show you the support that you feel like you deserve because you're taking on these outlandish things. Like, you don't need to have yourself represented on the tampon box. I'm sorry. You just don't need it. It's weird, man. I don't have a problem with it because it's just that's what people do. These are their choices that they're making. It's totally fine. Y'all do y'all. I'm just saying that when I read the article, I felt like this was some corny shit and they should have left it alone. Basically because as a man, you don't get a fucking period, my nigga. You don't fucking need a tampon. I think the only time men ever use tampons is when there's a fucking nosebleed and there's no way to really stop it, and your homegirl always has some Always in her purse. So she gives you the tampon, you plug your nose, and that's about the extent of a male's need and use use of a tampon. Again, I don't think the thing is small enough to go in the tip. So, you know how I know that it's not? Because niggas squirm when they have to get tested for sexually transmitted diseases. And that's just a fucking Q-tip, bro. It's smaller than the tampon. What do you need the tampon for? Jesus Christ. What does our world come to? But shout out to them, man. Somehow they finessed this company, because you guys know how companies are. No company wants to deal with the backlash of the internet. So obviously the company caved to their demands, and now these men who are transitioning to become women they've had a request granted. So you put up the fight. It looks like you've won the battle. Shout out to you, but please be prepared for the internet to basically roast and clown you, because this is outrageous. It's just kind of weird. Here's some good news. I don't know. Maybe it's good news, maybe it's not. But New York City plans to close Rikers Island by 2026. I thought this was very interesting, but I also think when you initially read the headline, it can be a bit misleading. They're not closing the jail. They're closing that jail to build 4 separate jails to basically hide and hibernate in each borough, or one of the boroughs, whichever one they pick. And so it sounds like all the inmates will then be transferred to those facilities, and they'll no longer be on the island, which I think is pretty cool. If you know anything about Rikers Island, that is not a place that we should be sending humans. It's not it's less than what a jail is, based on some of the stories that I read. And I mean, you've seen documentaries like, rest in peace, what's the young man's name? Khalif Browder. I mean, my nigga basically walking down the street, being harassed by cops, and then being sent to Rikers Island for basically not doing anything, and then the hell that he went through. And you look at, even when he got out, what his experience kind of forced him to do, because he felt like he was in a corner. His entire life was ruined basically over nothing. And you think the mental and emotional impact that you take by being in a place like that, regardless of the crime that you committed. Obviously, when we hear people, they commit serious crimes, we want serious consequences. I get that. But there are people who are sitting in Rikers Island who they're non-violent offenders being put in a place that houses the most violent offenders across our nation. And you're talking about some of the most hood niggas from every hood in America, guys who don't care, guys who are doing life sentences, and if they want your soups, my nigga, they're gonna take that shit. I mean, you've seen videos where Khalif on the security tape, where he's getting beat the fuck up for literally nothing, and the guards just sit there and they fucking let it happen. It makes me so mad thinking about that shit. I understand we have a terrible justice system, but we also feel that when people commit crimes that we need them to suffer consequences. But I think sending people to Rikers Island, honestly, man, you are basically telling them that you are planning to execute them, but you want them to die a slow death. Because a lot of people go in and never make it out of there. So, and even the ones that do make it out, they come out completely different people. And it's because the jail is basically a torture chamber. And I feel like, just based on the things that I've heard my entire life, this is one of those places that you can make that claim, and you don't need to have a lot of evidence to support that. You need to watch like 1, maybe 2 documentaries and read about 2 newspaper articles and see 1 10 o'clock news thing, and you already know that Rikers Island is a terrible fucking place to be, even for criminals. It's awful. So by 2026, they plan to close down the island, create 4 separate jails, and they'll move all the criminals to those facilities. Fuck, man. Hopefully those close down too. Y'all need to just build more rehabilitation clinics. Maybe get these niggas on some yoga and shit, and some fucking like breathing techniques or something. We gotta figure out how to redirect the behavior. You can't say a person is an animal and then send them to an environment that requires them to maintain animal status. Like, you're not helping to rehabilitate people like you say that prison is set up to do. You're basically sending them in there to either kill or be killed. And that probably sounds crazy, but it is what it is, man. So, we stay on the serious topics. I saw this clip on IG, and I thought this was kind of crazy because even based on the job that I work, I deal with a student who from time to time uses racial slurs. Sometimes they're directed at me, but I grew up in the South. A lot of the kids that I went to high school with used to call me a nigga all the fucking time. None of that shit bothers me. There's not a whole lot a person can say that will offend me because I just don't give a shit. You can't get me out of my bag like that. If I end up putting hands on you, it's because I'm actively choosing to because you just annoyed me. It has nothing to do with any type of racial slur that you might use. It literally is probably because you're just annoying in that moment. But me, I like to refrain from that. And obviously, especially when it's kids, you want to just redirect their behavior, explain to them the effects that type of, language used with specific intent has. You try to coach, you try to educate, but some kids don't learn. We have a young man who was recently, he's a security guard at a high school. He's been let go from his job because he asked a student to refrain from calling him a nigger. Because he said the word, the school used their policies and procedures as a way to finesse him out of his job by saying that in the school guidelines and school district guidelines, they have zero tolerance for staff using racial slurs. The security guard tells the young man to stop calling him a nigger after the young man has said it multiple times in front of other staff and students. It was documented, they had it on tape. But my man still somehow lost his job. So, of course, I don't think it's hard to figure out that this is somewhat unfair, right? You have a guy who asks a student to stop calling him the N-word because in that moment, he's trying to teach the kid, hey man, this is not the right thing to do. This is not how we want to treat people, and this is not how you get results in life. While he's trying to teach that lesson in whatever way and technique he was using, he has to say the word back to the child. And somehow the school and the school district feel that it's appropriate that he lose his job. And last I heard, based on when I checked the article as of yesterday, nothing has happened to the student. I am someone, based on my age, the way I grew up is that my parents did discipline me. Not parents, my mom did. My dad was very absent. He's not a big fan of that. Just when he tried to flex his little bird chest and try to bow up, but he knew better than that shit. But my mom used to discipline me, and she would teach us lessons and get us to understand that, you got to treat people the way that you want to be treated. You shouldn't treat people like shit. You shouldn't call them out their name. I still obviously ended up doing that a bunch to people, but for the most part, I am a very respectable and respectful man whenever I'm out in public, when I see people, when I talk to them. Most people that know me know that even when I talk to young kids, I refer to them as, yes ma'am, yes sir, all this thing, to not only promote to them that respect is important, and it doesn't have to be, calling someone sir or ma'am. That doesn't just automatically mean that it's being respectful. I use those terms because it's just how I was raised. I always spoke to my mother like that. I even spoke, to the sperm donor the same way whenever I would speak to him. It's just a thing. So I think it's okay to say that type of stuff. But, I come from a time where your consequences had actions. It seems like we now live in a time where the kids get to call the shots for some reason. I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not sure how parents, end up losing control of their children. But like I said, I even work with a kid who even today was telling me that just based on the way that he thinks, it's kind of like his way or the highway. And that's weird for me because I'm always looking at it like, yo fam, you're a fucking kid. You barely know what the fuck is going on. Let the adults guide you, teach you, mold you. But it's tough because some of these kids don't want to listen. They grow up way faster than what they need to based on the internet. They think everything on the internet is actually what our realities are, when in fact that most of us who are adulting every single fucking day, you know, Sunday through Sunday, whatever the fuck you want to call it, we all know that the shit that be going down the internet is not really how real life is. But some kids don't want to do that. We're also in a time where a lot of these kids have no problem being openly offensive and directing things at people of other races. They do not care. Even with all the examples that we have of people, you know, getting under fire for that type of stuff, losing jobs, like being kicked off sports teams, like all these things, we still have kids that think it's appropriate to speak like this to other people. I mean, shit, even another situation where we have a middle school girl and a high school boy, and this high school boy at a football game decides that he wants to disrespect this young lady, call her out her name, call her the N-word a bunch of times, and then pee on her at the game in front of other people. And then the staff didn't do anything about it. So it's weird to me that we have a situation where a middle school girl and a high school boy are in the same area interacting, and you have a young man who, in a public place, pulls out his genitals and he decides to urinate on a young girl while calling her the N-word. That is fucking crazy. They have a whole news article about it and everything. And it comes from, you know, New Jersey. Obviously, they're up there in Jersey just wilding. But, yo, this is in a public place. You have a young man who's doing this. And it's like, at what point are we holding our kids accountable and demanding that they be respectful to other adults, to themselves, and to other kids, their peers? Like, we literally have some shit cracking off right now where kids really feel like it's okay to be openly disrespectful. We gotta find a way to correct that. I'm not saying that ass whoopings are the answer, but we gotta do better, because that shit is starting to get very, very pathetic and very irritating. So shout out to the young lady, the middle schooler. That's hella unfortunate. You don't deserve to get pissed on in front of everybody. And it's sad that there weren't other adults in the area that rushed to your aid. At least the young man's being brought up on charges. You hate to see him end up potentially ruining his life based on a very dumb decision. But honestly, man, you might need to suffer the consequences because you didn't do the right thing. You can't treat people like that. Nobody should be out here pissing on anybody. That is some weirdo shit. I mean, if the circumstances are different, some of y'all nasty MFs, y'all are into that freaky shit while y'all are bumping and grinding to the R. Kelly tracks and all that type of shit, and then you want to piss on niggas, that's your own thing. But we should not have our young boys doing this to our young girls at school. I think that's way across the line. And maybe the young man needs to be taken on scared straight and let some of these jail niggas disrespect him the way he was disrespecting that girl. But yeah, shout out to the security guard, man. Hope you get his job back, or hope you go work for a better school district, one that's actually going to take care of you. They should be defending the staff. If you have staff that are being openly disrespected like that by kids, I don't think it's fair that you relieve the man of his job for trying to get the kid to understand that this is not the way that we treat people. And I think the child should be recommended for expulsion, because I've seen and heard about kids getting suspended and then eventually expelled for much worse. So we gotta start to act on some of this stuff, and we can't let people try to hit you with the, well, he's just a young boy and he probably didn't mean it, don't ruin his life, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but you ruin these black kids' lives like it ain't shit. Kids from underserved areas, poor little white kids, you ruin their lives like it's fucking nothing. And I've seen it happen. I have friends from back home who were not as rich as the other kids. Even though they were all white, they still were mistreated. Not nearly as bad as I was, but damn, almost to the same degree, which was kind of crazy, because sometimes it ends up being a color thing, but then sometimes it's a status thing. We got to stop treating people like they are less than just based on their circumstances. That shit is crazy. The same way where this next topic needs to stop fucking happening. Why do we continue to take food away from our kids at school because they have a small amount of lunch debt? Do you realize that some of these parents work 40, 50, 60 hours a week and barely have enough by the time all the bills are paid, by the time everything is done, at that end of those 2 weeks, they have no money left, fam. Don't you think that they want to pay the bill? They want to make sure that their kid is going to eat, but sometimes it's not that simple. Y'all look like some fucking bozos walking up to kids at school being like, yo, fam, don't eat that yet. You can't take that because you owe $3.65. So either run my money or run my plate back. We literally have adults who are taking food out of kids' mouths because of some small amount of money. I've interacted with some people on my Facebook who are looking at ways to try to help combat some of this stuff. I want to try to find a way to help start raising some money so we can look at some of our South King County districts, and if they have lunch debt, maybe we help them. We can help in other cities too. I'm trying to start local because, previous jobs that I had, I worked in some of these school districts. I'm affiliated or was affiliated with some projects and, within the community in certain areas where they have upwards of, almost 80% of their kids are on free and reduced lunch. So any way that we can make sure that, all of our kids at some point get free and reduced lunch, I think that would be awesome. And then these schools that have these lunch debts, we got to find a way to wipe this shit out, man. If you're going to make donations throughout the course of the year, donate to that shit. So that way this young man or this young lady can go to school, and if their family is really hurting, because you got some kids they sleep in cars at night with their parents. Like, they're not gonna have the $3, fam. But that does not mean that they should have to go to school and watch other kids eat food in front of them. That's bullshit. So, if you have suggestions on how you feel like you can help, please reach out to me. I would love to be a part of something like that. I'm all about helping out other people, and I think this issue keeps popping up. And I want to find a way to help combat this, because I'm reading that down in New Jersey, again, fucking Jersey acting wild, they're looking at not letting kids participate in extracurricular activities if they have lunch debt. So you're talking about telling a young man or young woman that they can't attend their prom because they owe $15 on their lunch account. Imagine being at the door and they're like, whoa, wait. Yo, you can't come in. We got you on the list right here. It says you owe $10. You got my money? No, well, you can't come in. So your date gets to go in, but you can't. You're talking about ruining a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a kid over some fucking dollars for nasty-ass lunch food. We gotta find a way to get past this. This shit is fucking ridiculous. But anyway, like I said, if you have ideas on how you would like to, see and create change within your community, or any of the districts that your children go to school in, if you would like my help, let me know. I'm looking to partner up with a few people so we could try to start knocking this out for some folks. I mean, shit, even if it's everybody just donate $10, we can cover a shit ton of kids. There's a lot of us out here. Shit, I'm broke as fuck, but I can scrounge up $10 to help a few of these kids, man. Because some of these stories, man, when you read them, it's hella sad to think that you have these kids who are probably counting on that one meal for the day, and then there's some shitty ass adult who's telling them they can't have it based on the account being a little bit overdrawn. I saw a tweet where someone put, yo, it's school lunch debt. It's not a defaulted fucking car loan. Stop mistreating our children over food that you probably plan to throw away after the day is over because you're not going to reserve it. It's pathetic. Let them eat the fucking food. Let me chill out, man. I'm getting a little too hyped up. Let's see. What else we got, man? Cowboys still suck. Yo, did y'all see your man, Don 4-5? He spit out some wrong information about these young female astronauts. I think that was yesterday. They did, I think it was like the first spacewalk where they had more than one female astronaut outside of the station. And so the big deal is that it's two of them, that's awesome. I think that is super fucking cool. These women are light years ahead of me when it comes to intelligence. So I think it's awesome that they know stuff about space. Nigga, I don't know nothing. I'm still wondering where all the damn stars are at out here. I ain't seen a star in 5 years being out in Seattle. But I think it's awesome that they got to do this. But I do think it's kind of bullshit that your man Donnie misrepresented them when he gave the announcement. The lady was polite and she did correct him. She wasn't a dick about it. And it looks like your man gives her the middle finger. He doesn't directly do it at anybody, but he messes with his hair, but he uses his middle finger to fix it. You know how like when you're in the 3rd grade and the teacher says something stupid and then you like wait till she turns her back and then you kind of like halfway flick her off and then all your classmates are laughing. He literally did some shit like that, like a fucking 3rd grader. It's the weirdest shit I ever seen. As usual for me, I think almost everything that Donnie does is funny because it's clearly a joke. My man does not take his job seriously. He doesn't take the presidency serious in any capacity. I think he thinks this entire thing is a joke. When you have money, you get bored. You can't do things that regular people do, so you do shit like this. You find a way to become the president, and then you find a way to ruin the country for your own entertainment. And just, this is how he probably gets laughs. Like regular comedians just don't do it for him. He'd rather just be on Twitter at 3 a.m. disrespecting any and everybody he can, and then making poor comments about people, and then acting like a 6-year-old whenever they call him out for it. So, Don, you're a terrible human. And if you were giving those girls the middle finger on TV, at a press conference, bro, just quit. Hand in your papers and just quit. You don't want to do this. You don't take it seriously. Just get the fuck out. It's okay. Like, we don't need you here for this. Like, those women did not deserve that type of shit. All you had to do was announce the situation correctly. They don't have to end up correcting you, and then you don't have to flick them off. It's simple shit. Treat the shit like you care. Don't treat it the way I treat this radio station by, only giving half the fucking facts about a situation. Like, because your job, you have to sit at a high position. You need to do better, bro. I don't even know what else to say. You're just trash. I know Donald will never ever hear this, but I think it would be funny if somebody shared this video and then maybe he got a hold of it. Maybe he'll cuss me out on Twitter, and that'll help me get my followers up. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what else we got, man. Yo, we are breezing through. I appreciate it if you're sticking with me. What time is this? About 8:15. I'm in the Laker game now. Shout out to the squad home team. It looks like Clippers are home team tonight, but the Clippers are some bums. They've always been bums. It's crazy now that people say the Clippers can win the entire championship, because I think not too long ago, the Clippers were that one NBA team where if you got sent to the Clippers, basically the league was letting you know that your career was over. They get Blake Griffin, then they get Chris Paul, and then somehow they start having winning seasons, and now they have enough to where they are planning to compete with their big brother. Big brother is the Lakers. It will always be that way because the Lakers have double-digit championships, and the Clippers don't even have double-digit playoff appearances in their entire history. The most notable thing from Clippers history is the fact that they at one point had a racist owner, and he got caught by his little prostitute girlfriend being racist on a telephone call. That's the best thing that's ever happened to them. No meaningful wins. They have no banners. They literally have nothing. But people are under the impression that they're probably going to the NBA Finals. I think that shit is blasphemy. Do not say to a real basketball fan that the Clippers are going to the NBA Finals. It's not gonna fucking happen. And if it does, then I'll wear a Clippers jersey. I don't feel like that's even like a bad thing. I just gotta get a good one. I need that Patrick Beverly, but I'll wear it. And I'll wear it on game 1 of the next season if the Clippers can win the championship. And I'll openly say on the air that I was wrong. which you will not hear me do very often because in typical fashion, I'm usually always right, which that's how I know that I'm always wrong. So, the Clippers win the championship, maybe I'll get me a jersey and I'll wear it on game one the next season, and I'll rep them and I won't disrespect them anymore. But I will have to say, you will always be little brother because you guys don't have banners. You literally have nothing. No one can even really say who's the greatest player in your history at this point. It's probably Lamar Odom or Elton Brand. Well, probably just Kawhi. They probably gave it to him by default because he's the only player that's ever come to their team that has an NBA championship. Nobody else wants to even really play there. And now all of a sudden people act like going to the Clippers is like the cool thing to do. Like, God, you're talking about worst sports franchises in America. It's like the Dallas Cowboys, the Clippers, the fucking Cleveland Browns. I feel real bad about that first one. Dallas is not that bad. At least they got rings. But for real, Cleveland, the Clippers, like these are franchises that are notoriously bad. Like the Mariners never going to a World Series, always having a bad franchise. Like the Clippers are like one of those teams. And now all of a sudden people think they're about to transcend to a new dimension and become champions. Fam, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to happen. Anyway, let's see what else we got. I talked about this last week, but we had some technical difficulties with the show, so I'm going to go over it now. We're talking about Hollywood rebooting and remaking a lot of old movies. So I don't know if you guys saw the new trailer for Charlie's Angels. I'm not disrespecting the movement that is empowering women to be great and do all these things. I think that is a wonderful thing. But I'm not going to lie to you. That Charlie's Angels movie looks like trash. Watching the preview, I was very, very disappointed. It doesn't even look good. When I posted the trailer, I think 90% of the comments that I got on my post were all from females. They all said that it looked like it was terrible. So it's not me as a man bashing or doing anything like that. It's just keeping it real. The trailer doesn't look good. We have a lot of remakes coming out over the next handful of months. We got a new Star Wars movie that's coming out, which is the end of Star Wars. But we also have one thing that I thought was really cool. Broadway is going to start running a play, and it's a classic movie. If you're a Robin Williams fan, I think you'll like this. Broadway is going to have Mrs. Doubtfire April 2020. So in spring of 2020, if you're ever in New York City or, doing some Broadway visits, you will be able to see Mrs. Doubtfire. So I'm just hoping that they do a really good job. That's a classic movie. One of my favorite movies ever by Robin Williams, that and Flubber. That's what it was called. Flubber was stupid funny. So I think it's going to be pretty good. Normally I would say stuff like that is trash. Because I feel like that's all Hollywood and all these little entities do, is that they don't have any original content anymore. All they do is remake old things. It seems pretty pathetic. So if we can get some new content, that would be great. So if any of you guys are aspiring like writers and movie producers and all these things, push heavy for your dreams. Go to Hollywood and get us some new movies. We need to see some new people in these positions of power so we can get better content. I think that would be super cool to see some of my friends who are, knee deep in filmmaking to start becoming the guys who are directing $100 million films. I think that would be awesome. So y'all keep pushing out there, man. We definitely support you. And I also support the idea of original content and no more reboots, because Hollywood's not doing a good job when they reboot a lot of these movies. But Broadway, spring 2020, Mrs. Doubtfire, classic movie. I hope they do Robin right, because he deserves to rest easy knowing that they're taking things that he participated in and doing them justice. Don't take some of these movies and ruin them. It's getting old, man. Like, I heard my favorite movie is getting a reboot, House Party. If any of you have ever seen that, I feel like the last two, well, you did the the fourth movie where you had the guys from Immature and they were in that movie. That was terrible. Where kid gets married, it was terrible. Do not reboot that movie franchise. That shit is gonna be terrible. Your first two films were fire, and then the third one was okay. You had Bernie Mac, rest in peace to Bernie Mac. But I remember the fourth one. The fourth one was with Immature, and then they're like middle school or high school kids, and then they throw their own house party. That movie sucked. Do not remake that franchise, please. Jesus Christ. What else we got, man? You know what we about to do? I got to go to the bathroom and answer some messages. We got people who were wanting to chime in about some of the topics that we've already discussed on the show. So we're going to dive into this music. I'm going to take a short break, and then we're going to be right back with y'all in about 10 minutes. So what do we got planned? Yeah, we're about to run this Avant real quick. This is an old classic record. Shout out to Avant. Can anybody give me an update on Avant? Because I remember like last year somebody was saying that he only had like 6 months to live. So I want to get a pulse check on Avant because he has some classic records. But yeah, we're going to be back in about 5-10 minutes. You are now tuned in, or you have been tuned in to the Meemco Jackson Show. I'm rocking with you until 9 p.m. And when we get back, we're going to talk about a few more things and then get ready for the closeout, baby. So enjoy this music, and I'll be back with y'all shortly. We're killing it. We're live. This is Track Talk Radio. It's your boy Meemco Jackson. We are an hour and a half into our 2-hour show. It's crazy, man. We've been talking about a lot of stuff. I've just been roasting the shit out of some of these sports teams. We're just going from there. So this is easy work. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. The button is down below somewhere. Y'all know probably how to operate that a little bit better than I do, but check me out, man, and share it with all your friends. It's fun stuff. For all of you tuning in to the video recording of our live broadcast on Track Talk Radio, I don't know what I was going to say, man. I hope y'all are doing all right. I can't tell if anyone's enjoying this. It's a long show. The stuff in between when we're on breaks might be a little bit boring. As we progress, I'm gonna find ways to juice this up and make this more entertaining for y'all. But everything is just in the beginning stages. I think pretty soon I'm gonna bring in some more members of Team Dusty and add them to the show. We're gonna plug in extra microphones, and we might have multiple people talking in here at one time going forward. I think that would be fun. I don't mind doing it by myself, but I think every now and again it might be cool to have some other people on here. That way you guys can hear some different perspectives, and you can see how I would have conversations and interact with other people. So stay tuned for that. Keep rocking with us for the long haul. I think this is going to be something that becomes great. I think the cool thing about it is that I want to make sure that I'm always being receptive and open to the idea of change based on conversations and feedback that I have and get from people. I think this is one of the best ways to kind of connect with people of all different walks of life, different backgrounds, and people who have different perspectives on things. Like, this is cool shit. I like when people send me messages and they're kind of pissed off about something that I said, because I want to hear the thoughts. Why are you pissed off? Like, you're identifying a problem. What is your solution for said problem? Like, how do we progress as humans in our daily lives with some of these situations? And so it's cool to have these conversations with people. So reach out, send emails, send messages, whatever it is you want, man. If you just have something on your mind, or you'd like me to give you a shout out or say something specific about you on air, as long as it's within reason and not something that's bullshit, I don't mind doing it, man. Like, this is a platform that I plan to use to help build and empower other people, and also talk shit to people on, because that's something that I like to do. I've been known most of my life as an asshole. I'm a really good dude, but an asshole all at the same time. So I gotta live up to the hype, baby. But either way, we're locked in. I think I'm gonna let one more song play. We just had Avant, Read Your Mind playing, and now we got J. Cole, Wet Dreams playing. I'm gonna let this J. Cole run for a little bit. And then I may let the next song run, and then after that I might jump back in. That way we can get ready to close out the show. But right now I'm watching Lakers versus Clippers. The thing keeps shutting off, so I don't actually know what the status of the game is currently, but on my TV, we got the Clippers up by 1. Looks like we're in the second quarter, about halfway through. I don't know, man. It must be a good game. I've missed most of it because I keep having to turn it on and turn it off and turn it back on, excuse me, which is getting fucking annoying. But hopefully that shit will just start working. And hopefully my Lakers get this victory, man. They look like they're being sloppy, but it's game 1 of the season. That's to be expected. A lot of these niggas probably come in hella cocky, and then they have to be, put in their place and understand their limitations while they play in these games. Because some of these Clippers boys, man, they look like they're coming for it this year. But I think it's because there's so much hype. You got to think, if you play for the Lakers, the hype is only on the shoulders of LeBron and AD. But if you play for the Clippers, it's on every single person on that team to do well. Because if one person is even off by a split second, they will probably lose the most important games of their season, which will come in, May, in June, and then potentially in July or whatever. So it should be a good season. Man, I'm super excited. We waited a long time for the NBA. As a basketball fan, I couldn't be more happy because, you actually see some, well, I don't want to say it's balanced throughout the league, but there's definitely a little more balance in the Western Conference. This is the first time in probably 6 or 7 years that Golden State is just not guaranteed to go to the finals. It's going to be somebody different representing the Western Conference, which is cool. And that team will probably play Philadelphia or Milwaukee in the East. Don't sleep on Miami because I think Jimmy Butler is extra motivated this year to maybe make something happen and build a real legacy for himself, especially, filling in the shoes of Flash down in Miami because he's taken over for Dwayne Wade. That's not easy to do. Dwayne Wade was a great player, future Hall of Famer for sure. He's an NBA champion. So Miami is going to have high expectations by having a player like Jimmy Butler in there. So it's going to be a good season. The East is hella weak as usual. But I think a lot of these other teams, they're set up for some serious success. Man, we're going to have to see, man. It's only game 1, but I feel like we all want to just pick our team to go to the finals and win it all. But you got to make sure that they can power through. 82 games is a lot. Plus the extra 16 that you got to win in the playoffs in order to actually win the championship. So hopefully good things happen for my Lakers, man, because I don't want to have to burn this jersey. No, I would never. It's Kobe. If I had a Braun jersey, I probably would burn that shit if they start losing. But Kobe, I'll never disrespect you like that, dog. I got you. All right. Let's get ready. Get money. Let me pull up my notes, cue up the notes, pull up the smokes. Oh shit, I'm definitely talking about this stuff. Yo, your man is back. The mic is on. I'm lit. I just be cutting the music off because I do what the fuck I want to do. Excuse my language. Nah, don't excuse my language. Excuse yourself if you get offended. Because I truly don't give a damn. We are here to have fun. I'm here to be live and be lit. I say what I want. I do what I want. It's just what it is. And I've accepted the fact that I might do some shit that might get me in some hot water. And I got to live with that because, you know what, fam? That's just life. I feel like I'm very intelligent. I'm a good judge of, the rooms that I'm in and, the things that I do. I think I know better than to go completely off the rails. But I might still say some wild ass shit because, hey, I got the microphone and I have the computer, I have the camera. It is what it is. It goes on my channel. I only have myself to embarrass. So my thoughts are my own. They are not gospel. It's just a nigga with a microphone. I've been saying that since day 1. So rock with me. Let's see. We got a couple more things we're going to dive into. One thing I wanted to talk about was I thought it was hella funny that last weekend I read a report where it said that there were 3 women who worked at an assisted living facility and they have been relieved of their jobs because they're being brought up on charges for running a dementia fight club. They literally had they had a 73-year-old lady versus 70-year-old lady, and they watched them fight. They encouraged it. They filmed it. One of the staff was actually relieved of her duties prior to for pushing one of the patients based on their performance in the fight. This is fucking insane. To know that we had 3 people who were entrusted with taking care of other humans, and they thought that they wanted to try to reenact one of the greatest films of our history, which is Fight Club. I don't know which one of them thought that they were Tyler, but you can't go to your job acting like Tyler Durden. That's not how this shit goes. Brad would not be impressed by knowing that 3 women tried to pull off the plot from one of his old ass movies and they end up losing their jobs behind it. And you used old ass people to fight. Fam, I can't imagine that those fights were entertaining. And even in the article, it said that no one had injuries. Yeah, I fucking wonder why, nigga. You're 73 years old. You're not landing no punches, fam. That's not fucking happening. The only person I can imagine who will be 70 still landing accurate punches will be Mike Tyson. I say this because Mike is 53 years old now. And I've recently been seeing some videos where Mike is kind of doing some like shadow sparring with people, just kind of showing these people some of his moves that helped him when he was in the prime of his life. The scary part about it is that these moves look like they could still take your head off your shoulders. I was talking to Cheese about this last week where I said, you know what? I think if someone was to offer me $2 million right now, I'll go and I'll fight Mike Tyson. I'm fully anticipating that I get knocked out, and I'm okay with that as long as y'all run that bag. And I would like it in cash, and I want it to be all 20s. Mainly because I'm gonna talk about something that we talked about when I was getting my hair cut the other day, and this was a crazy thought. Shout out to one of my fellow Team Dustians, my nigga James. While he was cutting some young brother's hair, the 3 of us were having a conversation. He said, wouldn't it be useful if there was a $40 bill? I thought that was weird at first because I was like, why the fuck would I ever use a $40 bill? Normally when you go to the ATM, you usually take out 40, or maybe you take out 60, but who really wants to take out 60 because you usually only need 40, and there is zero use for a $50 bill. Most places won't even give you a $50 bill. It's basically just a waste. And I had mentioned that if I ever got a big bag of money, I want it all in 20s, mainly because I'm a little bit slow and 20s are easier for me to count. I probably shouldn't have said that on air, but look, let's face it, God couldn't give me everything. The one thing he left off of my stat sheet was math skills. I'm just not good with it. So I need the easy counts, you know what I'm saying? And I thought to myself, yo, a $40 bill might be pretty useful. I mean, shit. I feel like a lot of things just cost a little bit less than 40. Most things that you buy on a day-to-day basis don't really cost more than that. It would be helpful if I just had an easy like, hey, this is, $36. I'm like, here's my $40 bill. Take that shit. Because I don't ever be having 10s on me neither. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm looking to try to get a quick $2 to $5 million. So if anybody knows Mike Tyson, and maybe if he's willing to I'll split half of my purse to give to charity. If he wants to do a charity event, he can knock me out. And we'll put it on tape. We'll put it on the show to go on the YouTube channel. But if I knock him out, he got to give me an extra $10 million. And we're going to see what happens. So if somebody wants to help me set that up, some of the proceeds that I inevitably win or lose but still kind of win because I'm going to get a small bag, if anything, will go to decreasing the lunch debt around America. I'm with that. You knock me out, I take $1 million. We give another $1 million to the lunch situation, and everybody's a winner. And I think $1 million can cover plastic surgery and facial reconstruction. I'm sure I'll need that at minimum. But I think it would be worth it. I also have always wanted to know how it would feel to get punched by Mike Tyson, that's insane. With a glove on, not without a glove. That sounds fucking crazy. But there is one person who did take an ass whooping from Mike Tyson without gloves on fairly recently, and he lived to tell about it. Shout out to Whack 100 for running the fade with Mike Tyson while being on Mike Tyson's podcast. Apparently, Whack said some what Mike deems as disrespectful things about Tupac. If you will know anything about Mike Tyson's history, him and Tupac Shakur were great friends. Mike loves Tupac. He refuses to let people disrespect Tupac's name, especially since Tupac is not here to defend himself. Him and Whack, you can hear. I think there's only audio. I don't think there was any video, but you can hear them on the audio, kind of getting a little bit heated, and then you can just hear Mike and his lisp, which is stupid funny. But you hear him rumbling with the nigga. And shout out to Whack because he owned it. He came out and he said, yo, Mike gave me hands. He still has it. And I don't know a lot of people that after they get their ass whooped that they go out and admit it. Most people are too scary for that. I've had my ass whooped before. I don't have no problem admitting that. Like, sometimes you just get bested. It is what it is. But shout out to Whack for taking an ass whooping from Mike Tyson like a boss. I don't know too many people who could probably do that because I can't imagine that those hands were moving slow. With some of the videos that I've seen where Mike's showing people his techniques, bro, when I say that if without the glove, if you get hit with one of those punches, your head is coming off. It's gonna be off, bro. Your lights are definitely going out. You're gonna be knocked the fuck out cold. You will be in significant pain because Mike is packing that much power. It's fucking crazy. And Whack took some of those punches to the damn face. So, shout out to Whack, shout out to TDE, Kendrick, Schoolboy, everybody that's on their crew. Yo, that's just fucking crazy. Imagine taking a punch from Mike Tyson to the fucking head. Jesus. Something that was really crazy. Imagine you are a civil rights investigator. You are of Latino descent. So you are classified as a minority, right? But imagine you don't feel like you are. Imagine this person feels that black people are just absolutely beneath them. And imagine being a fucking idiot, going to a bar, not remembering that you have a really important job and that people have really good camera skills and they can pull their phones out in a split second and record you cussing out an African American bartender as a civil rights investigator while you're in your free time. You cuss him out, call him the N-word, tell him that based on the way he's treating you by basically letting her know that he wasn't going to serve her drinks, then you start to, tear him down. You say, this is why I don't represent black people. And then she hits him with the, I'm going to have the KKK come murder you. Fam, she's a civil rights investigator. This bitch tried to summon the KKK on my nigga. That's wild shit. Even with that job, you have that job and you want to threaten a black dude by saying you're going to have the KKK come murder him? That is wild shit. So obviously she got fired. They had her on tape. You have multiple character witnesses for the bartender and then multiple people, patrons and staff included, basically saying how shitty this lady was. Just the entire situation was fucking horrible. But I did think it was funny because you think of over the last 4 to 5 years, maybe it's been longer than that, maybe, we see so many of these situations where people, non-colored people, that's how I'm going to refer to them tonight, because they're not always white people. But sometimes they're not always colored people. I guess that kind of just says that they're white, but sometimes they are colored people too. But it's crazy how people will
spaz out in public, blurt out racial slurs at people, and then be completely shocked when they lose their job and miss out on opportunities, because it's like, fam, we got you on tape. It's on the internet now. You not only are making yourself look stupid, but like, no one's gonna want you to come back to work after you just spent the weekend being on a video cussing somebody out over some dumb shit. The last couple of years, it seems like we have a lot of permit patties and, you know, all these people calling the cops on black people for having barbecues and shit. Or, you know, I saw one video where an older lady got mad because buddy like pulled up in the parking spot a little bit too close to her car, and then she started spazzing out, calling him the N-word. And it's like, yo, lady, you're bugging over a parking spot right now. It's not your property. It don't belong to you. It's really not even that serious. But I hate to say it, white folks just won't. They don't ever seem to learn, and they don't learn from each other. Y'all have to see these videos and think to yourself, yo, if I'm not gonna do one thing today, it's this bullshit. I'm not gonna get caught on the internet calling somebody the N-word, because you lose everything when that happens. But I will say that I do kind of like that it does still happen, because then the aftermath is always the funniest part. When you hear their fake ass apologies and they say, well, you know, this is not really me. And no. Don't say that. Own it. It's definitely you. The part that's not you is the way you act in your normal everyday life, where you pretend like you enjoy being around these people when it's obvious that you have problems with them. You don't like being in the presence of people who don't look like you, think like you, sound like you, act like you. You think all of these things. You believe that black people are criminals, the scum of the earth, or we're porch monkeys, we're terrible people, we all deserve to die, we all should go back to Africa. You think these things about black people. When you show up somewhere, or you're intoxicated, or you've reached your breaking point, usually those are the times when people are the most truthful and they tell you how they actually feel. So when you see these videos of these women and men and they're freaking out and they're causing problems and then they start cussing people out, do not listen or read their apologies and think that that shit is genuine. It's not. Because if you didn't think like that, you wouldn't have done that shit from the beginning. It's just that simple. I mean, that kind of goes for everybody. There's no reason to do that shit at all. Over a parking spot, or you're mad because people are barbecuing, or like the people at Dick's Sporting Goods in Renton. Like when y'all are following me around the store, why the fuck are you doing that? Are you planning to call the cops on me? You thought I wasn't gonna buy nothing, huh? And then I showed you up when I bought that headband. That's in your face. Yeah, and they do that every time I go in there. And I think sometimes because I have a black hoodie on, I got the scully on, whatever you call it, the beanie on my head. I got my headphones in. I don't really speak to people when I walk in. I think they automatically just assume that I'm like some criminal. And I always have the fear that I'm going to be out somewhere and then I'm going to run into somebody or something's going to happen and then it's going to turn into one of these fucking videos. I always think that. I actually have had people blurt out a bunch of racial slurs to me. And I had a video where you could hear me yelling and screaming because a dude pulled a gun on me in traffic, called me the N-word a bunch of times after he tried to run me off the road. Like, fam, I wasn't even bothering you. But usually with someone like me, due to my size and stature, when they see me get out of the car, they definitely, immediately the windows go up, they lock the doors, and then they're quiet instantly. I mean, because who the hell wants to see some 6'4", 235-pound black guy walking up to the car looking like he's about ready to pick that shit up and turn it over? Buddy didn't like that. That's why he had to pull the gun out. And you see how these people be acting. You wanted to cuss me out, call me the N-word, and then you pulled the gun on me. That's wild shit. You didn't have to do any of that. You didn't have to call me the N-word. What was the point of that? Because you were mad that, like, I wouldn't get over when you were trying to get over in traffic? Fam, it's not that serious. If you were in that much of a hurry, you should have left 5 minutes earlier. You turned your problem potentially into my problem. That's lame. So, no offense, because I know there's a lot of you out here that are not like this, but if you are surrounded by or you know white people who tend to freak out on minorities when they don't get their way, I suggest you have a conversation with them and let them know, fam, for your own sake, it's not worth it. It won't do anything for you to have a meltdown and then start to throw things like the person's color in their face, call them names, berate them. Doing all those things won't do anything but get you in a world of trouble. So it really just is not worth it. And I think that's how we're going to close out the show. Mainly because that's just what the fuck I want to do. But also I think it's an important thing to end on. Overall, man, we just got to do better. We got to treat each other better. We have to be better. I probably will say this every fucking time I'm on this microphone. Do better. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Be open and receptive to the idea of change, and understand that there are a lot of things that are out of your control. People are going to think differently from you. They're going to be different. They will look different. But that doesn't mean that they are less than you. Treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO, with fucking respect. Treat homeless people the same way you treat the people at your job, treat your friends, your family. Treat them with respect. And if you don't treat your friends and family like that, learn to do so. It starts at home. Treat the people at home right, and it'll start to carry over. And you're going to want to go out of your way to treat people right when you're out in your everyday life. There is no reason to be a little shit to people. And a lot of you are like that. Just being a little shit. But anyway, we got about 10 minutes left. We're going to close out with some songs. Let's see, what do we want to play? We're going to run some... We're just going to play whatever's next. Actually, no. We're going to play... We're going to play a really old classic record. I'm not going to intro it. But since it's getting late and some of y'all are going to bed, if you're going to bed with a significant other or just a piece of strange that you picked up at Taco Tuesday at your local Mexican restaurant tonight, I want you to have a good time getting in the mood to this next song. And then let me know on Thursday if maybe you feel like there's a bun in the oven. Because maybe this song gets you that hyped up. You might want to go make some babies tonight. Do your thing, fam. And I will see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. We're going to get into this record real quick. We're going to let the songs play. And then we're going to close out for the night. So, thank you for tuning into the Memecle Jackson Show. I am your host, Memecle Jackson. Hit me up, man. I'm here to talk to everybody about anything that y'all want. Don't be mad if I crack jokes and roast you to your face. It's just the type of nigga that I am. So, thank you for tuning in. I love you guys. And I will see you next week. You know what? I'm not going to play that song. I don't know what happened to it. It's not playing. But we got some other stuff jamming. And then we're going to get it going. So, here is an old school throwback from Missy Elliott. It's called Sock It To Me. This is a classic record. And I'll give anybody who can spit Brat's verse word for word, I'll give you $20. But you got to send me a video of you reciting the verse word for word without reading off some lyrics or any of that type of shit. I want to hear somebody who can spit that shit word for word because it's fire. So I will see you guys Thursday night. Thank you for rocking with me. I love y'all. All right, man. That's it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on Thursday. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Do all of that shit that I have been saying every time we had a break. Let's go Lakers. Shout out to Kobe. Man, it's going to be a good season for our team. Shout out to my Bills. Shout out to my Texas Longhorns. All my teams are doing work this year. And we're prepared to go into the next decade and hopefully dominate in every sport. All my teams should be winning. That's what my hope is. So I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'm gonna be back on Thursday, man. It's the Memeco Jackson Show. We're on Track Talk Radio every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, man. I'm here with y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna see y'all on Thursday.